So there you can see there are sheep, and then there's a couple of sheep that are around the block, and there's also some goats. They're quite dirty. It's because of the rain. It's been raining quite heavy, and you know, sheep, they tend to be dirty. Yeah. And there's a fight there. So this is the salt block. The salt block that you need for your goats or your sheep. So sometimes it's called a mineral leak or a salt leak. There are different types of this block that you can get, but this normally weighs around 40 kgs if I'm not mistaken. And it can be used by goats, those guys, or it can also be used by sheep as well. So the same block can be used by actually cattle as well. They use the same block. So why this is important? A mineral leak is important because, well, actually let me start by saying that how do you know that you need a mineral leak for your animals? What is the deficiency like when it comes to animals that don't have enough salt leak or salt in their bodies? And one of the things that I can tell you guys is that it can lead to rough coats, so something that is not as shiny as this. So you can see these animals, they have a shiny coat, they are quite clean. So if it is a mineral leak deficiency, they tend to have rough coats, right? It's like the coat is about to come off, or the fur is rough. And this is the same for both sheep and goats. And then you also tend to have performance in terms of them giving birth, or them, you know, the sexual activity is reduced because of a lack of salt. And then also you have unusual eating habits. For example, you find your animals chewing on dirt or eating dirt or any of those funny things that they normally wouldn't eat. It's because of lack of salt, or salt deficiency. So it has a number of key trace elements that are required by your animals for them to maintain a healthy body, as well as a healthy even immune system that is capable of resisting against most of the normal diseases that are found within your farm or within your homestead. So they have sodium, which is quite well, sodium is like the basic, sodium chloride, that's the basic foundation of salt, and this block has a lot of salt in it. There's a lot of sodium. It also has some trace elements such as selenium, which is quite important, cobalt as well. That's required by your animals for natural function. So selenium is one of the key ones. Selenium is a trace element that is required by your goats or a sheep to maintain a healthy reproductive system or healthy reproductive avenues within their bodies. So if you don't have selenium, you tend to have, also that's the same for cattle as well, like I mentioned. So if you don't have selenium, we tend to have reproductive issues. They don't give birth as often as they are supposed to. They don't, the pregnancy doesn't carry. They tend to have muscle issues. Some of them limp quite a lot. They tend to have muscle stiffness as well. And then there's also some reduced immune responses to the diseases that I've just mentioned. So common diseases, they might end up becoming a fatality because your animals don't have enough salt and enough trace elements and enough minerals within their bodies to sustain themselves and fight against these normal diseases. So that's why it's quite important for your animals to have the leak quite close by. They are leaking, so you can see they just show up and like leaking. Some of them actually chew. They chew the block to supply themselves with enough salt and enough sodium and selenium and some other trace elements